You ever felt like no matter how hard you try, things still don't go your way? You plan your day perfectly, but then your boss snaps at you, traffic makes you late, or someone leaves a rude comment online, and suddenly your whole mood changes. We've all been there. But what if I told you that the secret to peace isn't about fixing the world, it's about fixing your focus? The Stoics discovered this truth almost 2,000 years ago, and it still rules modern life today. Stay with me till the end of this video, because this ancient lesson can completely change how you deal with stress, failure, and even success. And as a reward for watching till the end, I'll share one bonus idea that ancient warriors used to stay calm in chaos. A mindset that still works today. Now, let's travel back to ancient Rome. Picture massive marble halls, busy markets, and one man sitting quietly at a desk, the emperor himself, Marcus Aurelius. He was the most powerful man in the world. He commanded armies, ruled millions. And yet, in his private journal, which we now know as Meditations, he wrote words that sound surprisingly humble. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about that. The man who could control an empire admitted he couldn't control life. He couldn't stop betrayal, disease, or death. But he could control one thing, his own response. That, he said, is where real power begins. And this idea became the heart of Stoicism, one of the most practical philosophies ever created. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, believed that peace comes when you stop wasting energy on things you can control. They divided life into two simple boxes: things you can control and things you cannot. Everything in the first box, your thoughts, actions, and attitude, deserves your attention. Everything in the second box, other people's opinions, luck, weather, politics, traffic, deserves your calm acceptance. The magic happens when you learn to tell the difference. Let's bring this ancient idea into our world. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, late for work, and your stress level is rising. Can you control the cars ahead of you? No. But you can control your reaction. You can choose to breathe, listen to music, or call ahead and let someone know you'll be late. You can't change the situation, but you can change your state of mind, and that changes everything. Or think about social media. You post something you like, and someone leaves a mean comment. Your first reaction might be anger or shame. You start replaying their words, wondering if they're right. But stop for a moment. Can you control that person? No. Their comment lives in the box of things outside your control. What you can control is how you respond. You can delay your response, not their reaction. The Stoics practiced this mindset daily. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic teachers, was born a slave. He had no freedom, no wealth, and no power. Yet he became one of the greatest philosophers in history. Why? Because he understood that even when the world takes away your freedom, it can't take away your will. Your mind is your last kingdom. No one can enter it without your permission. That's something we forget today. We live in a time where everyone wants control over money, success, relationships, and even how people see us online. But no matter how much we try, the outside world will always be unpredictable. Algorithms change. People disappoint us. Plans fail. If your peace depends on those things, you'll always feel anxious. But when your peace depends only on your choices, you become unshakable. Stoicism doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything's fine. It means focusing on what's real and workable. If you can fix something, fix it. If you can't, accept it and move on. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, plagues, and betrayal. Yet he kept his calm because he trained his mind to ask one question: is this under my control? If the answer was no, he let it go. And that question works in every part of life. When your coworker is rude, when your flight gets delayed, when you don't get the result you wanted, stop and ask, can I control this? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, protect your peace. Life becomes much lighter when you stop trying to control everything. There's a modern power in this ancient practice. When you stop chasing control, you gain focus. You stop reacting to every little thing. You start living with intention. And slowly, peace replaces panic. The Stoics weren't just talking philosophy, they were teaching emotional strength. And that strength is more valuable today than ever before. So here's a small exercise from the Stoics. Tonight, before you sleep, think of one thing that bothered you today. Then ask, could I control it? If not, imagine letting it go, like dropping a stone in water. Watch it sink and disappear. That's what inner freedom feels like. The world today may be louder, faster, and more chaotic than ancient Rome, but the same truth still rules our lives. You can't control the storm, but you can control your sail. The Stoics mastered that art. And if you learn to do the same, nothing outside you can truly shake you. And that's only the beginning. The next lesson takes us to the East, where an ancient teacher explained why most of our pain comes not from what happens to us, but from what we want. Stay with me, because the next lesson will show you the real reason. Happiness always feels one step away, and how to finally break free from that cycle. Have you ever noticed that no matter what you achieve, it never feels like enough? You get a promotion, and soon you want a bigger one. You buy a new phone, and a few months later, a newer model comes out. You gain followers online, but then you crave even more likes, more attention, more everything. It's like an endless chase. The more we get, the more we want. But what if this very chase is the reason we stay unhappy? More than 2,500 years ago, a man named Siddhartha Gautama, who later became known as the Buddha, asked himself the same question. He had everything: wealth, power, and comfort. Yet, he felt empty. So he left his palace and began a long search for truth. After years of deep reflection, he discovered something simple but powerful. Desire is the root of suffering. That one line explains more about modern unhappiness than most self-help books ever will. The Buddha didn't mean we should never want anything. He meant that when our happiness depends on what we want, we trap ourselves, because desires never end. Once we get what we want, our mind instantly creates a new craving. It's a never-ending loop, and it keeps us running without rest. Think about how this looks in today's world. We live in an age of constant comparison. Every scroll on social media shows someone with a better house, a fitter body, or a dream vacation. Even if you were happy with your life 5 minutes ago, now you feel behind. You feel like you're missing something. That's the trap of desire. It quietly tells you that happiness is somewhere else. The Buddha called this endless craving tanha, which means thirst. And thirst never stops by drinking more. It stops by understanding that you already have enough. But that's hard, isn't it? Because everything around us tells us the opposite. Buy this, get that! Achieve more. We've been trained to think satisfaction comes from the next thing. The truth is, peace comes from the now. Here's an example. Imagine eating your favorite dessert. The first bite tastes amazing. The second bite is still good. By the fifth bite, the pleasure fades. If you keep eating, you start to feel sick. The same thing happens with money, attention, and even success. When we chase too much of anything, it turns from joy to burden. The Buddha's lesson is not about giving up life. It is about giving up attachment. You can enjoy things, but don't let them own your happiness. You can work hard, dream big, and earn success, but don't tie your peace to the result. Because when you attach your happiness to something that can change or disappear, you hand over control of your peace. So how can we apply this ancient truth in today's busy world? Start by noticing your cravings. When you feel restless, ask yourself, what am I chasing right now? Is it approval, money, love, or attention? Then ask, if I don't get it, will I still be okay? If your answer is no, that's a sign your desire is running you instead of serving you. The key is not to kill desire, but to understand it. Healthy desire motivates you. It helps you grow. But blind desire, the kind that never ends, makes you suffer. The Buddha taught that when you live with awareness, you start enjoying life without being trapped by it. Think about how peaceful it would feel if you could scroll through social media without comparing yourself, or work toward a goal without feeling desperate to win. That's real freedom, not needing more to feel enough. Here's a small exercise you could try tonight. Pick one thing you've been craving lately. Maybe a new gadget, a compliment, or a dream goal. Then imagine your life if you don't get it. Would it really ruin your happiness? Probably not. Most of the things we stress over lose power the moment we stop clinging to them. This is the wisdom of Buddhism in action, understanding that peace doesn't come from getting everything you want. It comes from wanting less. When you stop chasing happiness, it often finds you on its own. So, what's the next ancient secret? We're re-heading to ancient China, to the words of a wise teacher who believed that harmony and respect are the roots of strong relationships, families, and even nations. His lessons shaped civilizations, and they still hold the key to peaceful living today. Stay with me, because the next lesson from Confucius might just change how you see people and yourself. Have you noticed how noisy and divided the world feels today? People argue online about everything. Politics, opinions, even small things like favorite shows or food. Friendships break over tiny disagreements. Families drift apart because no one wants to listen. Everyone wants to be right. But more than 2,000 years ago, one man from ancient China gave us a simple truth that could fix all of this. Respect and harmony are the foundation of a good life. His name was Confucius, and his wisdom still matters today, maybe more than ever. Confucius lived in a time of chaos. The kingdoms of China were constantly at war, and people were losing trust in each other. Instead of fighting power with power, he taught something different: order through respect. He believed that a healthy society starts with healthy relationships. When people show respect between parents and children, teachers and students, leaders and citizens, everything else falls into place. He said, "Do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself." Sounds familiar, right? It's one of the most powerful rules in the world, the Golden Rule. Confucius taught that harmony doesn't come from laws or fear. It comes from kindness, humility, and understanding your role in a bigger picture. Now, let's bring this into the modern world. Think about your daily life at work, at school, or even online. How often do small conflicts grow big just because no one wants to back down? Maybe your coworker disagrees with your idea, or a friend texts something rude and you reply without thinking. But what if you paused for a second and asked, how would I feel if someone said that to me? That one small pause, that bit of respect can stop anger before it grows. Confucius taught something called Li, the idea of proper behavior. It doesn't mean being fake or overly polite. It means understanding that our words and actions affect others. When you treat others with respect, you make it easier for people to work with you, trust you, and care for you. Respect isn't weakness, it's strength that builds connection. In modern times, this lesson is more important than ever. Social media rewards outrage. The louder you shout, the more attention you get. But real progress doesn't come from noise. It comes from listening. Confucius believed that listening with an open heart is one of the highest forms of respect. When people feel heard, they open up. And when they open up, harmony begins. Let's look at another part of his teaching, Ren, which means kindness or humaneness. Confucius said that a good person acts with Ren in every situation, not because it's easy, but because it's right. It means being gentle when others are harsh. It means forgiving mistakes instead of holding grudges. It means choosing peace over pride. You see, the problem isn't disagreement, it's disrespect. You can disagree and still be kind. You can stand firm and still be humble. Confucius showed that respect doesn't silence truth, it strengthens it. Because when people feel valued, they actually listen to what you say. Here's a small example. Imagine you're in a meeting and your idea gets rejected. Instead of getting angry, you ask, "Can you help me understand your point of view?" Suddenly, the tone changes. You're not fighting, you're connecting. That's Ren in action. And over time, that attitude earns you influence far greater than shouting ever could. Confucius also believed that respect starts at home. He called it filial piety, honoring your parents and elders. But it's not just about age. It's about gratitude. It's about remembering where you came from. When you respect those who came before you, you stay grounded. You don't lose yourself in ego or pride. If we think about it, the world's biggest problems, hate, division, conflict, all come from forgetting this simple truth. We've learned to value being right more than being kind. But Confucius reminds us that societies don't grow through argument. They grow through harmony. Here's something you can try today. The next time someone upsets you, instead of reacting, pause and ask, what would Confucius do? He would probably say, show respect. Seek understanding. Keep peace. It might sound old-fashioned, but in a world that celebrates outrage, respect is revolutionary. The Stoics taught us to control ourselves. The Buddha taught us to let go of desire, and Confucius teaches us how to live peacefully with others. These three lessons together form a solid foundation for a better life, calm inside, simple in heart, and kind to the world. But our journey doesn't stop here. The next lesson takes us to ancient Egypt, a civilization obsessed with eternity. They built pyramids not just as tombs, but as symbols of something much deeper, the human desire to be remembered. Stay with me, because this next ancient truth will show you why your legacy, not your possessions, is what truly lasts. When was the last time you thought about how people will remember you? Not your job title, not your bank balance, but you, your actions, your words, your character. In today's fast world, we chase likes, followers, and fame. But deep down, every human shares one quiet desire to be remembered. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Egyptians built an entire civilization around that idea. For them, life was short, but legacy was eternal. Let's travel back to the golden sands of ancient Egypt! The Great Pyramids rise from the desert like mountains of stone. Kings and queens ruled with power, but they also feared something that all of us feared being forgotten. So they built monuments, temples, and tombs that would last forever. But that obsession wasn't just about showing wealth or pride. It was about something deeper. The belief that our deeds live longer than our bodies. The Egyptians believed that when a person died, their soul, called the Saa, continued to live as long as their name was remembered. Erasing a person's name was seen as a second death, worse than the first. That's why their pharaohs carved their names into stone and filled their tombs with stories of their lives. It wasn't about ego. It was about legacy. It was their way of saying, I was here. I mattered. Now, we may not build pyramids today, but think about it, don't we? Still crave the same thing. We want our work to mean something. We want people to remember us with respect. We build our digital pyramids through photos, posts, and achievements, hoping they'll last. But the truth is, most of that fades quickly. What truly lasts is how we touch people's lives. That's the modern version of the Egyptian lesson. Your real legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what you leave within others. Let's look closer. Every great civilization falls. The Egyptian empire eventually vanished, but the names of people like Ramses and Cleopatra still echo through time. Why? Because they left behind stories, art, and values that inspired others. That is the secret to a lasting legacy. It is not built in one grand act, but in small, consistent choices that define your character. In our world today, legacy has changed shape. You don't need a pyramid to be remembered. You just need purpose. The teacher who changes a child's life leaves a legacy. The parent who raises kind kids leaves a legacy. The friend who supports others through dark times leaves a legacy. It's not about fame, it's about impact. The Egyptians also believed in a final judgment. They said that when a person died, their heart was weighed against a feather, the feather of truth. If your heart was heavy with lies and cruelty, it sank. But if it was light with honesty and kindness, you earned eternal peace. Imagine living by that rule today, where your worth isn't measured by your success, but by the weight of your heart. We often forget this in our race for more. We think success is about how high we climb, not how deeply we care. But the Egyptians remind us that the only thing that truly survives time is goodness. People won't remember the numbers in your bank account, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Here is something to think about. What if your daily actions were bricks in your own pyramid of legacy? Every kind word, every honest choice, every moment of courage adds another stone. You don't need fame to be remembered, just integrity and heart. You see, the Egyptians were not just builders of monuments, they were builders of meaning. Their obsession with eternity was really about living in a way that mattered. And in a world that moves too fast, that lesson feels more important than ever. So tonight, ask yourself, what am I building that will last beyond me? Maybe it's your work, your words, your kindness, or simply the example you set for others. That's your legacy, and it's already taking shape every day. The Egyptians teach us this. Time erases everything except meaning. If you live with purpose, your name may fade, but your impact never will. And now, as we move forward in our journey through ancient wisdom, we'll visit another great thinker, a philosopher from Greece who believed that true happiness comes not from having too much or too little, but from finding balance. His name was Aristotle, and his idea of the golden mean might just be the key to living a steady, happy, and fulfilled life, even in the chaos of our modern world.